We all have dreams, but dreams by their very nature can be difficult to achieve. That's where Access Credit Union comes in. Whether it's going to college, owning a car, or building your dream home, your local credit union can help you to fulfill your dreams. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
Green light, off they go.
Oh, Father dear, and I often hear you speak of Erin's Isle.
Expect the Germans to start swiftly, and indeed they've done just that in lane 4.
Mountains rude and wild. They say it is a lovely land wherein a prince might dwell. Then why did you abandon it? Oh, the reason to me tell.
They're home and hosed. They're ahead by a length. It's Ireland from Germany, and history is made on the water in Tokyo.
Till a blight came over all my crops, and my sheep and cattle died.
As Fintan, McCarthy and Paul O'Donovan win gold. Gold for Ireland. Gold for Ireland. Silver for Germany.
And that's the cruel reason I left old Skibbereen.
That is one more chapter of magnificence from the men from County Cork. Brilliant, sheer brilliant. There's never been an Irish rowing gold before. Gary and Paul O'Donovan won Ireland's first Olympic rowing medal, the silver in Rio. And now Paul, with Fintan McCarthy, has won Ireland's very first gold medal.
Hello and welcome to a very special edition of the Star Sport podcast. My name is Jack McCarran from the Southern Star, and I'm joined by Star Sport editor Ciara McCarthy. And Ciara, we are live from Skibbereen Rowing Club, the Olympic medal factory. And I suppose just to get us kicked off, how did you react to the result last night? You're obviously watching the race along with the rest of West Cork and the country, but what were your emotions when Fintan and Paul crossed the line and claimed the gold medal?
It was probably relief, to be honest, Jack, because there was so much expectation and pressure on Paul and Fintan. Even going over to Tokyo in the first place, they were the world champions, the European champions, they were favourites for gold. Then they won their heat, then they won their semi-final, and they won their semi-final in a world best time. So everyone expected that Paul and Fintan would deliver that gold that we all hoped they would. But sport is never that straightforward. It really isn't. So there was pressure going into the race, and a huge pressure on them. And I was nervous, and I actually found myself getting emotional yesterday during the day, because you know how much work they put into it, and you know how much it means to them. And then you'd hate for them to come up short when they've invested so much of their lives into this one race, and it all came down to this one race. So I think when we saw them get across the line ahead of the Germans, it's pure relief, because they've delivered on the big stage. So incredible.
We're obviously on the ground in Skibbereen today, and there's a brilliant atmosphere around the town. But what I thought really sums up just what makes this club so special was the fact that when we asked if we could come along to record a podcast this morning, we were told we can, but it had to be at 12 o'clock because there was underage training at 9 o'clock this morning. So even after the most famous night in the club's history, the young club members were out training on the Island River, trying to prepare possibly for the next Olympics. So I think that really sums up what this club is all about.
Oh, the conveyor belt in this club was incredibly strong. We saw a couple of weeks ago Finn O'Reilly won a silver medal at the World Under-23 Championships, and two more young skib rowers have been named on the Rowing Ireland team going to the Coupe de la Jeunesse, which is a European kind of junior competition. So as well as the Olympians have done in Tokyo, and we must remember Paul and Fintan have gold, and Emily Hegarty has a brilliant bronze as well. To see those 3 Olympic medals coming back to the club, it just moves on here. Like, the Island River outside this window does not stop, and this club does not stop either. It's already forging the next talents. Because this is just an incredible club, and I've described it before as Ireland's greatest sports club, and I stand by that 100%, because this is a club in outside Skibbereen town. It's in a pocket of West Cork, and this club is producing not only one of the best athletes in Ireland, but the best athletes in the world. And that's thanks to obviously the parents of the athletes, but the coaches and volunteers in this club. And we're going to hear from one of them quite soon, Seanie O'Brien. He's a man been involved in this club for so many years, and his fingerprints and handprints are all over the athletes that are in Tokyo right now. He's helped them so much, like so many other volunteers and coaches in this club have. It's just a magnificent story.
Yeah, you mentioned we're going to speak to Seanie in a couple of moments. We also have a few more special treats on this week's edition of the Star Sport podcast, because we're going to have a live rendition of the official anthem of the Skibbereen Rowers in Tokyo by James McCone and Ciara Swanton. And just to give you a look behind the curtain of how these things are made, we've already recorded that and it is absolutely spectacular. I had a big smile on my face.
I'm pumped, absolutely pumped. Like we've been going non-stop a couple of days now, Jack, and I think we haven't had much sleep, and what we have been living on is protein bars and energy drinks. But as soon
if anyone at Monster Energy wants to get in touch and sponsor Kieran in particular, I'll also take a few free cans as well.
100%. Sport at thesouthernstarTV, fire them on to me. But when they did that rendition of the song, and they did it a couple of times, it was a goosebumps moment. I actually found myself standing here in the corner. I was getting quite emotional again, because you can hear the lyrics of the song, and they're warriors and they're on the Island River, and what these rowers from this club have done for this town and this area and for West Cork is absolutely incredible. And from anyone from Skibbereen or West Cork, for the next week, month, year, tell everyone where you're from, because this is the town, this is the rowing club that's produced Olympic champions, and it doesn't get any better than that. So it's a very special moment, obviously, to the rowers. So I want to say congrats to Fintan, huge congrats to Paul, huge congrats to Emily, and also to Aoife Casey, who's out there as well, and also to Lydia Heafy and Gary O'Donovan, who went as subs. And we can't forget Dominic Casey, the mastermind, the Don of Irish coaching, and when it comes to rowing, like, it's been a huge effort. But I'm walking on cloud nine today, Jack.
Yeah, there's a great buzz around the town. We walked up to the Skibbereen Rowing Club pop-up shop, and just the smiles on people's faces, it would warm your heart. But anyway, that's enough waffle from the two of us. As we mentioned, we're going to hear from James McCone and Ciara Swanton with their rendition in a few moments. But first, we're going to chat to club captain Seanie O'Brien.
We're delighted to be joined now by Seanie O'Brien of Skibbereen Rowing Club. It's the day after the Olympic gold medal winning race, and the day after before that, Emily Hegarty won a bronze medal. What an incredible couple of days for the rowing club. What's it been like, Seanie?
Well, number one, no sleep. It's been very exciting. I mean, the races, the Emily's race, brilliant race. Aoife Casey, another young unsung hero from the club, because she didn't get a medal, but that B final race was incredible. Herself and Margaret Cremin did last night. And of course, the two boys. And I mean, hard to believe that there we are fighting for gold medals in the Olympics. We still can't get it into our heads that we've 2 gold medals, we've 2 silver medals, and we have a bronze medal from the Olympics, from Rio and Tokyo. It's
incredible for this club, Seanie. Like, it's a medal factory, but even the fact that 7 athletes from this club were picked on the Team Ireland team. Obviously, we've Paul and Fintan, we've Emily Hegarty. You mentioned Aoife Casey. We also had Lydia Heafy.
Yeah.
With Gary O'Donovan.
Yeah.
It's incredible that this
Dominic,
club...
And Dominic running the shop.
It's incredible.
Yeah. It is unbelievable. People find it hard to figure out. Have we just struck a patch? There are others coming up. There are more. I mean, we have another lightweight men's double sitting on the wings. Jake and Gary. No, not necessarily they'll be together. It might be mixed up some other way. But come Paris, they'll be fighting again for those seats. And whatever boat comes out of Ireland in that lightweight double for Paris will be the fastest boat in the world. That's what I reckon.
It's an incredible story.
You know.
Before we talk about Paul and Fintan's gold medal, and you obviously mentioned Aoife Casey did brilliant too, finished 8 overall in her first Olympics.
8 overall, yeah.
I want to talk about Emily Hegarty. She won a bronze medal in that women's 4 in their final on Wednesday morning. Emily is a rower you know so well, Seanie. You coached her when she was just a kid starting out.
First, when she came here first out of the schools programme, she just fell for rowing straight away, and she wanted to do it every day if she could. I remember her asking me outside, pleading with me, could I come some other days? And she came, and that was it. And you knew from day one that Emily had it. She was one of these exceptional athletes. You see the sweet hurler, you see the Jimmy Ballymurphy hurler, Mick O'Connell fielding a ball, the natural athletes, Emily had it. Straight away, you know it.
And what's it like for you, so Shawnee, to see Emily, a young girl from out the road here, out from Affadown, come into this club? You gave her the skills, the talent, the belief, the confidence to go out and do what she does, and she's bringing home a bronze medal from Tokyo. How proud does that make you first, and even the whole club?
Well, I almost feel like a father proud of a daughter at this stage, you know, because all of them, they're like our kids. We saw them grow up, and you know, there was good days, there was bad days, there was a lot of tears, there was a few tearful days, but through it all, we all battled together like a family, really. Rowing is kind of like, they refer to rowing as a rowing family all over the country. I mean, people were as deeply involved with Sunita last night and not performing like we know she can, you know, and suffering with her the same as if she was one of our club. You know, I think rowing around the country, there's great camaraderie, a lot of competition between clubs. There's absolutely no doubt. But we could go up to Cork in the morning, and any club in Cork would give us anything we needed or anything we wanted, and vice versa. We'll do the same for them. That's reflected in the kids. The kids know they're in it's a different ballgame in being involved in a rowing club.
What we've seen the last couple of days in Tokyo, these Olympic medals come back to Skibbereen, that's going to inspire the next generation. But just on Emily's bronze medal again, for young girls in Skibbereen, West Cork, across the country, to see that women's four win that historic first Olympic medal for Irish women's rowing, like that should be a real turning point for women's rowing, you'd hope, in Ireland.
I would imagine so, yeah. I mean, it's incredible to see them, and when they're out of the boats, they're young women, they're young girls, really. They're still girls, you know, and they're fine young women, a credit to everybody involved, and it must inspire all the young women. Once upon a time, rowing was considered a man's sport. Nuala Lupton was the first to represent Ireland out of this club. That was in 76, I think.
76,
I think 76. But I mean, at that time, women getting into it, eventually women did get into it. But I think so a lot more now. We find that we've equal membership of youngsters coming in, boys and girls. Sometimes more girls than boys. Because we've had, you go back to Denise Welsh, you know, did great for Ireland, you know. Unfortunately, never made it to that spot where the girls were last night, but Denise very close to it, and she brought on all those other girls in her own way, you know.
Denise has been a terrific role model for the club. She's still so much involved.
Yeah, but it will inspire everybody. I mean, the lads will inspire the women just as much as the women will inspire the men, you know. I think they'll all inspire each other.
And just on the lads, so obviously Paul and Fintan have won Olympic gold. They're world champions, they're European champions, they're now Olympic champions. How did you feel watching the race unfold? Because that German double, that German boat really put it up to Paul and Fintan.
I was worried at the very beginning because there's so much had been said about this lightweight double. It was the fastest boat all year. One other race they've been in. The only boat that beat them was the Germans. I can't remember what race it was, where the stroke coach fell out of the boat and Paul stopped to pick it up and still only lost by a fraction, you know. But that was the only time they were beaten, and that's being talked up all the way along by, I would imagine, in the British media as long as here. And I was afraid that they'd kind of get the commentators' jigs, you know, that will overdo it. I've seen it happen. It's amazing.
Because there was that expectation and pressure on the lads, because they were favourites, like they were odds on in the bookies before the games even started. So for Paul and Fintan to carry that pressure of the country and the world on their shoulders, but they just seemed like they were rolling down the Island River.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But then again, like that, like Sunita's race last night, I thought Sunita would cruise into the top three easy enough and make the final. It never happened. And that could happen to anybody. I think it could happen in the boat, and this is what I was worried about. I was still worried about the Germans. The Germans were hard to beat last night. They didn't get the race too easy, you know. And Germans, fair play, put it up to them, but our boys had that little bit.
The end,
bit extra.
end result, Shawnee, there's an Olympic gold medal coming back to this magnificent rowing club. It's like I said at the start, it's such a proud moment because you know Paul, you know Fintan, you know what they've put into it. You've seen them as kids here starting out in the training boats on the island. So to see two young local lads climb to the very top of the mountain, it's very special.
But I mean, well, credit to the parents too, you know, especially Teddy that worked strenuously for years getting the Paul and Gary going, you know, getting a junior quad going that won everything and represented Ireland, the Coupe, and you know, Tom and Sue. I mean, they've been around, they've been everywhere with the lads, Jake and Fintan, and they've given them every assistance along the way. Some kids don't get that kind of attention from their parents. Their parents let them out to be babysat by a club, and they really don't get very far, you know. Parental involvement, the backing in the home is essential too, you know. I don't think the lads be a bit more, they'd be too macho now to be thanking Mammy for making the sandwiches all those years ago, you know. But they do eventually.
But like it's
they
like
do eventually.
We said before, Shawnee, like so many people have played a part in this. It's a huge jigsaw. It's the coaches, the volunteers, the parents, the athletes. As a final question, so, and I tried to answer this for years, but you know more than I do. What's in the water in Skibbereen?
Cocaine. We don't know. We've had the water here analysed, and the water outside in the river is not drinkable. The water out of the tap is drinkable. That's all we know. We have a spring well here, but the talent was here before we discovered we had the spring, before we started using the spring well. But it's the stretch of water, and it's not. People ask us what's in the water. We have to go back. Dominic Casey is the X factor in the success of this club.
Oh, brilliant, Shawnee.
You know,
many congrats to you and everyone involved in the club. Magnificent couple of days. Terrific club. It's put Skibbereen, West Cork and Ireland on the map year after year. So huge congrats and thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you. And any of the kids, and especially our Olympians and all the rest that are watching this, thanks from the officers of the club. They gave us great pleasure over the years, and we're just overjoyed with the whole lot. So thanks very much.
Brilliant. Thanks, Shawnee.
We all have dreams, but dreams by their very nature can be difficult to achieve. That's where Access Credit Union comes in. Whether it's going to college, owning a car, or building your dream home, your local credit union can help you to fulfill your dreams. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
That's all we have time for on this edition of the Star Sport Podcast. Thanks to everyone who's been engaging with us throughout the week, and thanks to all the rowers who've given us so much joy over the course of the last week in particular, but over the course of our lives, I guess. Check out thesouthernstarTV/Olympics for all the most up-to-date news on our West Cork Olympians. And now it's over to James McCowan and Ciara Swanton to play us out. Take it away.
50 years in the making, the River Island their own, a club like no other, where heroes are grown. Nothing can stop them, the fire burns deep inside. They are Olympians, they are the champions, they keep the